Everybody could grab their seats, please. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Canton City Council. If everyone could please turn their cell phones to vibrate, and we are also encouraging social distancing here in chambers, so try to do the best you can tonight. With a quorum being present, the chair calls this meeting, the Canton City Council, to order. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Smuckler.
Here.
Babcock.
Here.
Schulman. Hawk.
Here.
Kimbrough.
Here.
Scaglione.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Fisher. Hall.
Here.
Mariel.
Here.
Ferguson.
Here.
Morris.
Here.
10 present, 2 absent, Mr. President.
Leader.
Mr. President, I move we excuse Member Schulman and Member Fisher from tonight's meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to excuse Member Schulman and Member Fisher from this evening's meeting. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smuckler.
Aye.
Babcock.
Aye.
Schulman. Hawk.
Aye.
Kimbrough.
Aye.
Scaglione.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Fisher. Hall.
Aye.
Mariel.
Aye.
Ferguson.
Aye.
Morris.
Aye.
10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries, and Member Schulman and Member Fisher are excused from this evening's meeting. Tonight's invocation will be given by Ward 1 Council Member Greg Hawk. If you would all please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Good evening, everyone. I ask God's blessing upon us as we gather for this meeting tonight. God has endowed us with many abilities and talents to be used to enhance the dignity of our city and the people who live in it. May we never abuse our elected commissions, but use our gifts for the good of those we serve. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Member Hawk. We are now under agenda corrections and changes. Leader.
Mr. President, I move Rule 22A be suspended to add second readings of ordinances 23 through 31 to this evening's agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to suspend Rule 22A to add second readings to ordinances 23 through 31 to this evening's agenda. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smuckler.
Aye.
Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk.
Aye.
Kimbrough.
Aye.
Scaglione.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Hall.
Aye.
Mariel.
Aye.
Ferguson.
Aye.
Morris.
Aye.
10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries, and ordinances 23 through 31 are a legal part of your agenda. We're now under public hearings, and we have one public hearing for this evening. Madam Clerk, would you please announce the public hearing?
An ordinance designating the zoning for the territory known as the Skyland Pines 2021 annexation area, containing approximately 5.561 acres as I-1 light industrial, and assigning the territory to Ward 6 and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak for or against this ordinance? Please step.
How are you?
Jim was wondering if we would be up for getting there at 7 and starting early.
Where do we play?
The Buckeye Club?
I'm not quite sure where this is coming from right now. Okay. Are we good now? All right, let's try that one more time. Is there anyone in the audience?
Mr. President, I think you've got a tea time if you want one.
We're running out of weather for that. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak for or against this ordinance? Please step forward. I must repeat, is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak for or against this ordinance? Please step forward. Seeing no one step forward, the chair declares the public hearing over in regards to this matter. The matter now rests in the hands of council. The ordinance will follow later this evening. We are now under old business, and there is no old business this evening. Tonight, we're going to change it up a little bit. Normally, we would do public speaks, but right now, We're going to do informal resolutions, and I believe we have a few that we need to cover. So we are now under informal resolutions, and we have 5 for this evening. Madam Clerk, would you please read informal resolution number 31 by title?
Recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt informal resolution number 31.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt informal resolution number 31. Are there any remarks?
President,
Leader?
may I have this read for the record, please?
Madam Clerk?
Whereas October is recognized as Domestic Violence Awareness Month across our country in the hopes of ending violence against women and their children. And whereas the Domestic Violence Project is a nonprofit organization helping thousands of women who have become victims to such violence at no cost to them or their families. And whereas recognizing that violence of this type can also extend to four-legged members of the family, the Domestic Violence Project now allows victims entering the facility to bring their pets with them. And whereas the Domestic Violence Project offers a safe shelter, as well as a full list of community services, including legal advice and community education. And whereas the public services provided by the Domestic Violence Project are vitally important to our community. The facility continued to remain open and provide full service to all in need throughout the COVID pandemic. And whereas at this point in time, the shelter is at full capacity, a strong testament to the need for this type of facility. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of Canton City Council, do hereby go on public record recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, the importance of the services that the Domestic Violence Project provides, and the vital need for the facility's continued operation.
Are there any additional remarks? Hearing none by voice vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries, and resolution number 31 is adopted. Informal resolution number 32, please.
Congratulating Ariana Williams, 4th grade winner from City of Canton of 2021 Fire Prevention Essay Contest.
Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt resolution number 32.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt informal resolution number 32. Are there any remarks?
Mr. President, may I have resolution number 32 read for the record?
Madam Clerk?
Whereas this year's Fire Prevention Week kickoff breakfast was held October 6, 2021. The theme for the 4th grade essay contest was The Sounds of Fire Safety. And whereas this year's winner of the essay contest from the City of Canton is Ariana Williams, a 4th grade student from AIM Academy at Belden Elementary School. And whereas in her essay, Ariana prudently points out the importance of fire alarms and provides practical suggestions for preventing fires. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of Canton City Council, do hereby go on public record congratulating and honoring Ariana Williams as the 4th grade winner from the City of Canton of the 2021 Fire Prevention Essay Contest. Thank you, Ariana, for reminding us that it's not only important to be alerted to a fire, but also to preventing it in the first place.
Are there any additional remarks? Hearing none by voice vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries, and resolution number 32 is adopted. Leader, you are going to present the
Mr. President, yes, if we could have Ariana join me up there at the podium, and if any of the parents would like to take pictures, please feel free to go in front of the podium.
You're more than welcome to come around. You're good. You're good. Yeah. Girl, you can go anywhere you want. So.
Does this stay on permanently, or?
It should. It should.
Okay. You want to be a fire person when you grow up? No. You heard that. This is why we have trouble recruiting people. We're excited that you took the opportunity and put the energy into helping remind people why it's important not to have fires in this community. We want to make sure that the firemen have nothing to do. And so we don't want to lose anybody, and we congratulate you on doing a wonderful job with your essay. And council wanted to recognize you for that, and you have a resolution in there.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Would you like to say something? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ah, okay.
And polite. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, we got a few more to cover. Madam Clerk, informal resolution number 33, please.
Congratulating Joseph Spencer, third grade winner from the City of Canton of 2021 Fire Prevention Coloring Contest.
Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt resolution number 33.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt informal resolution number 33, and I'll save you the remark, Mr. President. Can we hear that in its entirety, please, Madam Clerk?
Whereas this year's Fire Prevention Week kickoff breakfast was held October 6, 2021, which this year included a third grade coloring contest. The picture to be colored was a fire truck with fire dog Sparky at the wheel. And whereas this year's winner of the coloring contest from the City of Canton is Joseph Spencer, a third grade student from Heritage Christian School. And whereas Joseph's beautiful picture indicates his obvious attention to detail. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of Canton City Council, do hereby go on record congratulating and honoring Joseph Spencer as the third grade winner from the City of Canton of the 2021 Fire Prevention Coloring Contest. Thank you, Joseph, for sharing your talent for us to enjoy.
Are there any additional remarks regarding informal resolution number 33? Hearing none, by voice vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion carries, and resolution number 33 is adopted, and Leader Smuckler will present the resolution. That's a shocker.
Yeah, she's proud of you. And she should be proud of you. And council wants to recognize what you've done too. We want you to help prevent fires too and make it so our firemen have nothing to do. In here enclosed is a resolution, and we recognize for you trying to spread the word that we need to put fires out in this community. And we thank you very much. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Madam Clerk, informal resolution number 34, please.
Commending Scott Winkert, 2021 Canton Firefighter of the Year.
Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt resolution number 34.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt informal resolution number 34. Madam Clerk, can we hear the resolution in its entirety, please?
Whereas Scott Winkert is a 24-year veteran firefighter who began his career as a volunteer for Bethlehem Township. Upon completing paramedic and fire school, he was hired as a full-time firefighter for Perry Township and joined the Canton Fire Department in early 2000. And whereas Scott is currently assigned as an inspector investigator for the Fire Prevention Bureau and is a certified peace officer. And whereas on August 21st, 2021, at approximately 10:30 p.m., Scott's keen insight saved a human life. And whereas that evening, Scott was working at an event at the Canton Civic Center when he noticed a man appearing to be despondent who should not have been on the premises at that time. Scott decided to approach the man who, as it turned out, was about to jump off of the parking deck. Without hesitation, Scott pulled him back to safety, saving the man's life. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of Canton City Council, do hereby go on record commending and honoring Scott Winkert, the 2021 Canton Firefighter of the Year, for his dedication to the citizens of the city and his heroic devotion to saving lives.
Are there any additional remarks regarding informal resolution number 34? Hearing none, by voice vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries, and resolution number 34 is adopted. And Scott, if you would come up, please.
As most of you realize, mental health is a problem in our community, severe problem. And we have our regulars, and I've spoken about this to the mayor. And this person may not have been a regular, but you gave this person a second chance in life. And there's no greater gift than you can do that, is what you did for our community by saving someone's life. And we congratulate you, we appreciate you, and thank God you're on the fire department.
Thank you all very much. First, I want to thank the young lady and the young man and congratulate them on their honors. You are the future of our community, and what you do matters. And we see that as firefighters. We see what you do, and it touches us, and all of us recognize what you do. So thank you and congratulations to you. I want to say thanks to everyone here today. This is an honor and a privilege to receive this. Councilman Smuckler, thank you for the kind words. You're absolutely correct, and what you said about mental health. And I was just in the right place at the right time. And I firmly believe that in my heart, and that anybody on the fire department, police department, anybody in public safety would have done the same thing. But I want to thank you all again. This is an honor and privilege, and I truly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Scott.
Thank you.
All right, one more, Madam Clerk, informal resolution number 35, please.
Authorize and direct the service director to open one or more purchase orders and total amount not to exceed $37,000 to the Ohio Floor Company to repair and refinish the Civic Center basketball floor.
Leader.
Mr. President, I move we adopt resolution number 35.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt informal resolution number 35. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, by voice vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries, and resolution number 35 is adopted. And for everybody in the audience that, we're here on behalf of somebody getting a resolution, there is no obligation to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we do, if you do leave, we want to thank you for coming this evening, that's for sure. Congratulations to everybody. Okay, we are now under public speaks, and we have one speaker for this evening, Ms. Kimberly Bell. Ms. Bell, could you please step forward and give us your name and residential address, please?
Yes, my name is Kimberly Bell, 1733 Morris Avenue Northeast, Canton, Ohio. It's a couple things I want to address. Last time I was here, I passed out a letter about beds and furniture for those just living in public housing. And I'm sure everybody who seen the incident a couple years ago with two council members. And when I passed that letter out, the two I'm speaking of, everybody looked at the letter. The two I'm speaking of threw it to the side like they didn't care what I had to say, which doesn't matter because what they say don't count. But yeah, those two, I noticed what they did, and it kind of, I'm like, they still on what happened 2 or 3 years ago. Shame on you. You know who you are. But okay, let's talk about the Hall of Fame. Thank you for the Canton Inn. I'm so happy whoever did that one. You get a point with me. It's coming down. But let's tear that down and let's build a factory there because I know this is all for the Hall of Fame, it's going down, but let's put a factory there to make the footballs for the Hall of Fame there. Let's put a factory somewhere here in Canton that we can produce our own stuff for this Hall of Fame, being that it's so important. Because all the money goes west, it doesn't come east in the black neighborhoods. It all goes west towards this Hall of Fame. That's where all the attention is right now. None of it comes east, other than a salt company he getting ready to put there. Why don't you ask us what we want there instead of you creating a salt factory. We need a salt factory. Put it by the Hall of Fame. Everything that goes good goes west, and all the money goes west, and it doesn't come east, because east is where the hood is.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. We're now under communications. Let the journal show that all communications are received as read. We are now under ordinances and formal resolutions for their first reading. Madam Clerk, would you please begin with ordinance number 1?
Number 1, a resolution approving the statement of services to be provided to the property owner in the 4595 Kirby Avenue Northeast annexation area. The approximate date services will be provided, procedure to reconcile incompatible zoning uses upon its being annexed to the city of Canton, Ohio, and declaring the same to be emergency.
Referred to Annexation Committee.
Number 2, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to convey city-owned real property no longer needed for municipal purposes to the Canton Community Improvement Corporation and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Referred to Community and Economic Development Committee.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to convey city-owned real property in the City of Canton Land Reutilization Program to Campbell Landscaping LLC and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Referred to Community and Economic Development Committee.
Number 4, an ordinance approving and accepting the replat of part of lot 17668 and all of lots 17665, 17667, 17669, 17670, 17671, and part of Outlot 368, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Referred to Public Safety and Thoroughfares Committee.
Number 5, an ordinance approving and accepting the replat of lots 9030 through 9035, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Referred to Public Safety and Thoroughfares Committee.
Number 6, an ordinance amending section 1195.05, duties of the Board of Chapter 1134 of the Planning and Zoning Code.
Refer to Judiciary Committee.
Number 7, an ordinance amending Section 1198.12, medical marijuana facilities, including cultivation facilities, processing facilities, dispensaries, and testing laboratories of Chapter 1198 of the Planning and Zoning Code.
Refer to Judiciary Committee.
Number 8, an ordinance amending Section 1134.05, storage of vehicles in zoning districts of Chapter 1134 of the Planning and Zoning Code.
Refer to Judiciary Committee.
Number 9, an ordinance amending Chapter 1147, permitted uses, business and industrial zoning districts, and Section 1148.03, I-1 light industrial district, permitted uses of Chapter 1148, special provisions for business and industrial uses of Part 11 of the Planning and Zoning Code.
Refer to Judiciary Committee.
Number 10, an ordinance amending Chapter 1147, permitted uses, business and industrial zoning districts of the Planning and Zoning Code.
Refer to Judiciary Committee.
Number 11, an ordinance authorizing the auditor to pay all moral obligations for EnviroServe, Inc. for expenses resulting prior to the passage of this ordinance and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Refer to Finance Committee.
Number 12, an ordinance amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Refer to Finance Committee.
Number 13, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to enter into a loan agreement and any other related agreements in an amount not to exceed $300,000 of Issue 13 comprehensive funds with Canton Logistics, LLC, in order to provide gap financing for a new construction project, amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Refer to Finance and Community and Economic Development Committees.
Number 14, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services for receipt of the FY 2022 Recovery Court ATP grant in the amount of $5,475, amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Refer to Finance Committee.
15, an ordinance amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Refer to Finance Committee.
16, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public safety to advertise, receive bids, award, and enter into contract for the purchase of one license plate reader and a secondary gateway router for the police department, or to alternatively purchase said items pursuant to any procurement process authorized by law. Authorizing the auditor to create the 2801 OCJS 2020 Project Safe Neighborhood Grant Fund, amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Refer to Finance Committee.
17, an ordinance amending Exhibit A to ordinance number 100/2011 as amended, the classification plan for non-bargaining unit personnel employed by the City of Canton, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Refer to Personnel Committee.
Number 18, an ordinance amending Exhibit A to ordinance number 100/2011 as amended, the classification plan for non-bargaining unit personnel employed by the City of Canton, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Refer to Personnel Committee.
19, an ordinance amending Exhibit A to ordinance number 100/2011 as amended, the classification plan for non-bargaining unit personnel employed by the City of Canton, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Refer to Personnel Committee.
20, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to enter into contract change order number 2 in an amount not to exceed $274,974 with the Shelley Company for the Cleveland Avenue Water Main Replacement Project, amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Refer to Finance Committee.
21, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to acquire the sanitary sewer rights for areas related to the Hall of Fame Village to Canton included in the General Development Plan, GDP, area, and to compensate the county for said conveyances, and to enter into agreements with Stark County for the ownership, operation and maintenance of sanitary sewers and facilities in the GDP area, amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Referred to Environmental and Public Utilities and Finance Committees.
22, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction for receipt of the FY 2022 Specialized Docket Subsidy Grant in the amount of $90,000, amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Referred to Finance Committee. At this time, the chair would declare an in-house recess for Finance, Community and Economic Development, Personnel, and Environmental and Public Utilities committees to meet in regards to ordinances 13 through 19 and ordinances 21 and 22 on your agenda this evening. You are now in recess.
It's 7:36. We'll call finance to order. We have ordinance number 14, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services for receipt of the fiscal year 2022 Recovery Court ATP grant in an amount of $5,475, amending appropriation ordinance number 49/2021 and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members of council, good evening. Mike Kuchera, Court Administrator on behalf of the judges of the court. Before you use an ordinance seeking authorization to enter into agreement with the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services for the receipt of the fiscal year 22 Recovery Court ATP grant fund in the amount of $5,475 and amending appropriation 49-2021 for a supplemental appropriation of that same amount from the unappropriated balance to the balance. This represents funding we get from the State of Ohio to administer a grant in conjunction with the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Stark County. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Mr. President.
Yes.
I don't mean to blindside you, so if you got to answer me later, it's fine. One of the things I refer to is mental health, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it or not, but we have a number of people that keep entering your courtroom week after week after week. They're the same people, and we both can put our heads together and know their names.
Indeed.
Is this the funds that use to help these people?
This is a small portion of it. This is just to administer one of the many grants we have with the County Board of Mental Health and Addiction Services. So yes, it's a very small piece of it, but it doesn't necessarily result in direct services to those individuals.
Down the road, I'd like to make an appointment with you because this is, I'm driving downtown the other day and the same person that I know you know, walking down the middle of the street in a nightgown, no shoes on, et cetera, has been to your court many times. And I'm sure it's frustrating for our police department to keep picking up the same person day after day after day. And I don't think this is the answer. So if I could have a little bit of your time and maybe talk about maybe some other possibilities of what we can do here.
At your convenience. Let me know when you want to talk.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll sign it out. We have ordinance number 15, an ordinance amending appropriation ordinance number 49/2021 and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honorable members of council. This ordinance is part and parcel to number 22 on the agenda. We're seeking a supplemental appropriation in the Court Capital Special Projects Fund in the amount of $75,000. This became necessary because the state budget, because it wasn't passed and adopted until the last minute, we didn't receive our disbursement of a lot of our grant funds until well into September. So we had to supplant this money to cover those employees till we got our grant money from the state. So that's the purpose of this supplemental appropriation.
Okay, any questions on this one? Hearing none, we'll sign it out. Since you're up here, I'll switch to, or I'll do ordinance number 22 now for you. So ordinance number 22, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction for receipt of the fiscal year 2022 Specialized Docket Subsidy Grant in an amount of $90,000, amending appropriation ordinance number 49/2021, declaring same to be an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Member Smuckler, specifically to address your question, this is the receipt of our specialized docket fund for state fiscal year 2022. This funds two positions within our probation department that does nothing but specialize people with mental health and addiction service issues. It goes part and partial to a couple of initiatives we have through our recovery courts for addicted individuals and for our mental health court, people who are diagnosed with severe mental illness. So this grant, the receipt of this grant, this is an ongoing grant. It's about our 6th or 7th year receiving funds, but these are the funds that we are waiting for from July 1st, but we had to do the supplemental that I just spoke of. So just one of the initiatives we have.
Questions? Hearing none, we'll sign it out. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Gonna jump back to ordinance number 16, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, director of public safety to advertise, receive bids, award, and enter into a contract for the purchase of one license plate reader and a secondary gateway router for the police department, or to alternatively purchase said items pursuant to any procurement process authorized by law, authorizing the auditor to create the 2801 OCJS 2020 Project Safe Neighborhood Grant Fund, amending appropriation ordinance number 49/2021, declaring same to be an emergency.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, the police department received the 2020 Project Safe Neighborhood Grant in the amount of $22,800. And as indicated, those funds will be utilized to purchase a secondary gateway router, which will be utilized for a private network for the police department in their server room, as well as the purchase of one license plate reader.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yes, where's this license plate reader going to be used at, and is it on a car? Is it, a little bit more details on this, please?
License plate readers are connected, I'm sorry, Mr. Councilman, license plate readers are attached to a camera, and this is part of the southeast end. I do not have the specific street, but it will be on the southeast end as they continue to build cameras out in that area.
Thank you, Safety Director.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll sign it out. It is 7:42. That concludes finance.
All right, I'm sorry, John. It's 7:42, Personnel Committee. This is number 17, an ordinance amending Exhibit A to ordinance number 100/2011 as amended, the classification plan for non-bargaining unit personnel employed by the City of Canton, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, as we continue to build up the building code department with the various inspections, demos, and code enforcement activities, we currently are looking to add additional positions. Currently, we have one plumbing inspector that is responsible for the entire city. Currently, our water service area covers nearly 70 square miles in and around the city. And we also are implementing a new cartograph inventory system citywide, which will be added to the daily responsibilities of the plumbing inspector. And with that, they will be responsible for entering the permit approvals, front counter plan reviews, and all computer entry that has to be done in the final inspections reviews of all plumbing permits throughout the city. So we're looking to, with the council's approval, to add one additional full-time plumbing inspector.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Member Morris?
Thank you. Director Perry.
Yes.
What is the cost?
Hold on I can get you that. I do not have that on this sheet that I have, but I can get you what their actual salary is. They're in the union, so I'll get you that information.
Member Morris?
Not to skip ahead on you, Mr. Chairman, but we have the same situation. We have 17, 18, and 19, and there's no dollar amounts on exactly what these positions pay.
I can get you that information. I can get the contract, and I can give you the information before the end of council.
All right, we'll move on to number 18, an ordinance amending Exhibit A to ordinance number 100/2011, as amended, the classification plan for non-bargaining unit personnel employed by the City of Canton, declaring the same to be an emergency.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, as you know, we've ramped up our code enforcement efforts throughout the city. We currently have 7 code enforcement officers. We'd like to add an additional code enforcement officer that will assist with approximately 1,500 site visits for the rest of the year, enforcing the IPMC code. And that at that point, we'll bring our code officers up to a total of 8.
Thank you. Member Morris?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Leader, we're being asked to vote on legislation that has no dollar amounts on it, and this is getting passed tonight. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I think that our code enforcement does an outstanding job. I think we've spent money over there. They have utilized it to the fullest, and they do a phenomenal job, but I don't feel comfortable voting on 3 pieces of legislation without dollar amounts.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, the plumbing inspector starts at, the starting step is $20.33, and it goes up to $28.15. The code enforcement officer starts at $20.17, and it goes up to $25.62. And as I said, those are union positions that would actually be bid, and then if no one bids on those positions, they'd be posted externally.
Member Morris? You're fine? Okay. This is number 19, an ordinance amending Exhibit A to ordinance number 100/2011, as amended, the classification plan for non-bargaining unit personnel employed by the City of Canton, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
And Mr. Chairman, this position is a new civil service position that we would be creating once approved by this council. Once this position is then approved, and it is the code enforcement administrator. The salary range for this position shall be $62,358.84 up to $91,540.80, which is consistent with similar assistant department heads within the city. The code department has a department head, and we're looking to have a secondary assistant in the department, as we do in our various other departments throughout the city. So once this is approved via council, we will then go to civil service, and civil service will determine the necessary testing for this position.
Any questions? Thank you, Safety Director. We'll sign this out. It is 7:47.
We'll call the joint session of Finance and Community Economic Development Committees to order. We have ordinance number 13, an ordinance authorizing the Mayor, Director of Public Service to enter into a loan agreement and any other related agreements in an amount not to exceed $300,000 of Issue 13 comprehensive funds with Canton Logistics LLC in order to provide gap financing for a new construction project, amending appropriation ordinance number 49/2021 and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, this legislation is asking permission to enter into a loan agreement utilizing Issue 13 comprehensive plan funds, an amount not to exceed $300,000. Canton Logistics recently purchased land at 1117 Howington Circle in Ward 4. They desire to build a new warehouse to house their towing operation. They are committing to retaining approximately 19 jobs and creating an additional 14 new jobs over 5 years. We've been asked to provide gap financing. They have secured other financing, and we ask for authorization to move forward to assist this small company. I'll be happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Member Hawk.
Thank you. Repayment schedule, and are we secured? Is this loan secured?
Yes, repayment schedule is over a 10-year period. The owner, Joe Coram, has agreed to personally guarantee this loan. Typically, what we do with all taxpayer money, we ask for personal guarantees, and we did the same in this instance.
Member Hawk, good? Member Morris?
Deputy Mayor, I got your curveball for you on this one. I typically do not like these 0.5% loans. However, I did receive a call from a constituent this weekend. How does one go about getting their hands on one of these loans? Is there a process? Is there an application? Is there a link to a website? Could you please email me the steps that a local business would have to go through to obtain one of these loans at this interest rate?
Mr. Chairman, Member Morris, yes, I can email you that. Yes, they can call my office, they can go on our website, but I'll put all the steps in writing to your attention. No problem.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, we'll sign it out. It's 7:51. That concludes joint session of Finance and Community and Economic Development Committees. 7:51, we'll go into joint session of Environmental and Public Utilities and Finance Committee. We have ordinance number 21, an ordinance authorizing the Mayor and Director of Public Service to acquire the sanitary sewer rights for areas related to the Hall of Fame Village to Canton, included in the General Development Plan, GDP area, and to compensate the county for said conveyances and to enter into agreements with Stark County for the ownership, operation, and maintenance of sanitary sewers and facilities in the GDP area, amending appropriation ordinance number 49/2021 and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, whenever we do an annexation from Stark County or of non-Canton property into the city, pursuant to our 1974 sanitary sewer agreement, the sewer rights do not automatically come with the annexation. There is actually a separate process for that. Anytime we do an annexation, an assessment is done by Stark County based on infrastructure, customers. It's all a formula built into that agreement. And then there is a cost that we pay to their sewer fund that is an enterprise fund like ours to reimburse them for the rights to the sewer, to the sewers and the customers. It is our option. We do not have to do that. And as you know, we have annexations come down all the time, and we don't necessarily come down with the sewer conveyance. In this particular case, with the Hall of Fame project, there's been discussions kind of ongoing throughout what makes the most sense from a sanitary sewer standpoint here for the development. We believe now this is a good time to do this. It makes sense. As it stands now, you kind of have the city overseeing from a regulatory standpoint and approval standpoint everything except sanitary sewer. So it makes sense to, from a project standpoint and the city standpoint, and a development standpoint, for us to be kind of the one-stop shop. Additionally, this makes good financial sense, and that's why we're coming down to do this. So long story short, the cost per the agreement to the county, that we will pay the county to have the rights to the sewers in the general development plan area that presently exists, presently annexed. We're paying just over $400,000 in sanitary sewer funds for the rights to the sewers. What do we get for that? We are getting a capital investment of sewers that we will own, that they are building, for just shy of $1.4 million. So we're paying $400,000 for a private developer to build $1.4 million in infrastructure that we will own once this is over. Additionally, from a revenue standpoint, it makes sense. So when you look at the projections as current customers and future customers, if the development progresses kind of to its max with this particular conveyance, you'd be looking at a about a 13-year payback. And obviously on a sanitary sewer, you know the time pipe lasts, a 13-year payback is fantastic. Even if nothing else happens with present customers, it's a 37-year payback, which when you have sewer pipes that last, 50, 60, we have 100-year sewers in some cases, a 37-year payback makes sense. So from our perspective, this is good from a project oversight standpoint and makes really good sense from a finance standpoint for us. The county, I've talked to the county, they're on board with this, kind of gets them out of the middle of it, so we think it's a good thing for everybody. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Yes. So this compensation is just one time?
Yes, for the property in the area that is currently, that we're currently conveying, so the area that is currently annexed into the city that we have not purchased it for. So could there be others if they were to purchase, new property and it were to expand? Possibly, but for the general development plan in the area as it sits today, yes.
One more, just as a general question, say we didn't do this, the city collects those sanitary fees. I mean, the county would, but because it's kind of a joint thing, does the county then pay the city for it coming into?
That is a fascinating question. So the way it presently works under the 1974 sewer agreement is we have a rate. We collect a monthly bill from the county every month for sanitary sewer. So the county, the Eastern Star, I'm going to oversimplify it. Eastern Star County flows into our water reclamation facility. Western Star County sewers, generally speaking, flow into Massillon. So they pay us a rate for their flow. Currently, there's a breakdown that says they pay X% of all costs at the WRF, X% of all of our collections, so on and so on and so on. It's based on single-family equivalents or SFE rates. So how this works is, because they don't have meters like we do for water, so they have to pay this SFE rate. So these customers now go towards the SFE rate that the county pays. In this case, it's more advantageous for us to take on the customers and bill them direct. But yes, it is built in now through a complicated mathematical formula.
Any other questions?
Hearing none, we'll sign it out. It is...
Timer out, John.
Sorry.
All good.
7:57, that concludes the joint session of Environmental and Public Utilities and Finance Committee.
Council is reconvening after the recess. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we suspend Rule 22A to place ordinances 13 through 19 and 21 and 22 back on this evening's agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to suspend Rule 22A to place ordinances 13 through 19 and ordinances 21 and 22 back on this evening's agenda. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker.
Aye.
Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries, and ordinances 13 through 19 and ordinances 21 and 22 are a legal part of your agenda. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we suspend the statutory rules on ordinances 13 through 19 and ordinances 21 and 22.
Second.
It's It's been moved and seconded to suspend the statutory rules on ordinances 13 through 19 and ordinances 21 and 22. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker.
Aye.
Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
You've heard the three readings, Leader.
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 13.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 13. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 13 is adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 14.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 14. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 14 is adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 15.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 15. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 15 is adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 16.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 16. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none.
Mr. President.
Member Hawk.
Thank you. I want to compliment our police department and because they do such an outstanding and an excellent job in everything, and this piece of equipment is going to help them out greatly. But what I must talk about here is what the states in their with the state of Ohio in their infinite wisdom, removed the front license plate. This is one of the key things that license plate readers hit and spot and help us out in solving crimes. I think the state was sorely mistaken in what they did, and it absolutely need to be raised. The question need to be talked about. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hawk. Are there any additional remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 16 is adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 17.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 17. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock. Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 17 is adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 18.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 18. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 9 yeas, 1 abstention, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 18 is adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 19.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 19. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker.
Aye.
Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 9 yeas, 1 abstention, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 19 is adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 21.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 21. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Smucker.
Aye.
Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 21 is adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 22.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 22. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 22 is adopted. We are now under ordinances and formal resolutions for their second reading. Madam Clerk, would you please begin with ordinance number 23?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to enter into contract with MKSK Inc. in an amount not to exceed $120,000 for the Reimagining Court Avenue Master Plan and Comprehensive Strategy Initiative and declaring the same to be an emergency. 24, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to advertise, receive bids, award, and enter into contract for the sale of city-owned real property and to enter into all contracts necessary to facilitate the sale of said property and declaring the same to be an emergency. 25, an ordinance amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency. 26, an ordinance amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency. 27, an ordinance amending Exhibit A to ordinance number 100/2011 as amended, the classification plan for non-bargaining unit personnel employed by the City of Canton and declaring the same to be an emergency. 28, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to enter into all agreements necessary for the transfer of the property located at Stark County Auditor Parcel 284-896 for $68,000 to the Board of Education for the Canton City School District pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Sections 3313.39, 163.04, and 163.041, and declaring the same to be an emergency. 29, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to negotiate and enter into agreement for the purchase of various parcels in a total amount not to exceed $445,000. Enter into contract for engineering design services for the renovation of the properties purchased and open purchase orders in an amount not to exceed $50,000 per purchase order for immediate security upgrades to the site, waiving the informal resolution requirements of codified ordinance 105.09 for said upgrades, amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency. 30, an ordinance authorizing the clerk of council to certify to the county auditor unpaid and delinquent charges for water, sanitation, and sewer services, and declaring the same to be an emergency. 31, a resolution declaring the necessity and the intent to appropriate parcels for the Invest Health Project, establishing the fair market value, FMV, of real property, and declaring the same to be an emergency. Mr. President.
Leader?
Mr. President, I move we suspend statutory rules on ordinances 27 through 31.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to suspend the statutory rules on ordinances 27 through 31. Are there any remarks? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries. You've heard the three readings, Leader.
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 27.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 27. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock. Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 27 has been adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 28.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 28. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 28 has been adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 29.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 29. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 29 has been adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 30.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 30. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock. Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 30 has been adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 31.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 31. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock. Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance number 31 has been adopted. We are now under ordinances and formal resolutions for their third, final reading and vote. Madam Clerk, please begin with ordinance number 32.
An ordinance designating the zoning for the territory known as Skyland Pines 2021 annexation area containing approximately 5.561 acres as I-1 light industrial and assigning the territory to Ward 6 and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 32.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 32. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock. Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
Motion carries and ordinance number 32 is adopted. Ordinance number 33, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public safety to enter into agreement for and accept $131,181.25 from the Department of Homeland Security to assist to firefighters grant. Advertise, receive bids, award, and enter into contract for the purchase of the Cascade System for breathing apparatus for the fire department and enter into contract for purchase of said items in accordance with any procurement process authorized by law, authorizing the auditor to rename the 2775 Safe Neighborhood Heroes Grant Fund to the 2775-2020 Assistance to Firefighters Grant Fund, amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 33.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that you adopt ordinance number 33. Are there any remarks? Leader?
Mr. President, I move to amend ordinance number 33 by the copy that is before every council member.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to amend ordinance number 33 per the copy before each of you. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, by voice vote, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 33 as amended.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 33 as amended. Are there any remarks under this ordinance as amended? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock. Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries, and ordinance number 33 as amended has been adopted. Ordinance number 34, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to enter into a design and/or construction oversight contract for the Market Avenue South Streetscape Project, GP 1319, amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 34.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 34. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock.
Aye.
Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
Motion carries, and ordinance number 34 is adopted. Ordinance number 35, please.
An ordinance amending appropriation ordinance number 49, 2021, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Leader?
President, I move we adopt ordinance number 35.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 35. Are there any remarks under this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Smucker. Babcock. Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
Motion carries, and ordinance number 35 is adopted. We are now under announcement of committee meetings. Our next meeting date will be November 8th at 6 p.m. And we will, when we make the schedule out for next year, I'm sure we'll give it, we're not going to give ourselves 3 weeks in between meetings. So,
Mr. President?
Member Merrill.
And I'm sorry, what time did you say on November 8th?
I had 6 p.m.
6 p.m.? Okay, Finance will be meeting here 6 p.m. on November 8th.
Thank you, Member Merrill.
Mr. Smith?
Member Ferguson.
Economic Development will be meeting at the same time.
Okay, thank you, Member Ferguson. Member Hawk.
Mr. President, annexation will meet Monday, November 8th at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Member Hawk.
Mr. President,
Member Babcock.
personnel will meet the same time, same place, and also judiciary will meet the same time, same place.
Thank you, Member Babcock. And I believe we are going to have an executive session with the Law Director. Yes, sir. So, thank you, Law Director.
Brenda.
And thank you, Member Kimbrough. We are now under miscellaneous business. Is there any miscellaneous business for this evening?
Mr. President.
Leader.
Tomorrow night and this is showing already how much use this is going to get, at Centennial Park, there's a program called Take Back the Night. He passed a domestic violence resolution this evening, and there will be a rally for the community promoting domestic violence awareness. And I'm trying, 6 o'clock tomorrow night. If you can at all attend, I think this is one of many programs that you'll see at the park.
Thank you, Leader. Is there any other miscellaneous business for this evening?
Mr. President.
Mayor?
Really, 3 different topics. Bill has mentioned Centennial Park. I just want to say to City Council, and to Auditor Mallon and Law Director Kristen Bates-Allward, who are here tonight. I have presented to you tonight a commemorative gift, which is a replica of the donor wall. Of course, we had our centennial celebration back on September 18th. Many of you were there. It was a beautiful night and a great night. These were on back order since that date, part of the national supply chain delays. But we wanted to present those to you tonight in thanks for your support of the construction and the ongoing maintenance and operation of Centennial Plaza. By all accounts, it has been a very, very successful year. Many of you attended many functions there this year, and we anticipate that this will only grow and improve going into the future. On the second note, last week last week the Amazon project officially closed. That was the first time, because everyone was under certain restrictions regarding talking about it, that Amazon, who everyone anticipated and expected to be the project owner, was acknowledged. I just wanted to say, number one, and it's important for everyone to understand, that there were no incentives given with regard to this, and none were asked by Amazon or by the developer. And number two, a lot of work was done on this, and I want to give my thanks to all cabinet members who were involved in this intimately, and all of our department heads and special teams. We have been meeting in a very quiet, confidential, cooperative, and very timely manner with the developer since this was first discussed probably 6 months ago. This involved zoning, annexation, and also let me thank the law department, because they were very instrumental in all the work that was done behind the scenes, but involved, again, zoning, annexation. Council was involved in many of these steps. Approvals of various building, water, sewer, safety plans, and just continuing attention to the developer needs with regard to this. We created a very close working relationship with them. And from the beginning, we scheduled multiple meetings, which led to what we call one-stop shopping with the developer, with our various department heads. So again, this was truly critical to the final decision that was made and to the outcome of this particular project. So again, I work on a daily basis with them. Of course, John Hyman works on a daily basis with service, Fonda with economic development, Don with planning and zoning, Andrea with fire and safety, and Mark on finances, as Chris does also with regard to Phil, who was very instrumental in most of these steps. We have a great set of department heads. We have a great set of very talented and professional people, and they and their teams worked very, very hard, and we, frequently received thanks from the developer for the extraordinary attention given to this project. So again, although there was a lot of confidential work done on this, there was work being done at all times, and a lot of work done by all of them. And our thanks to all of these great people that work for us. And a final topic, this is McKinley-Massillon Week. This is a special week for the city of Canton. In addition to the game, I think it's number 132, dating back to 1894. This coming Saturday, there is events every day of the week. And there is an important thing that happened associated with it, and one is the blood drive annually, and one is the food fight, the food rising for the Stark Hunger Task Force every year. I would urge council to support that. But this year, again, I want everyone to know that we will be having a community parade and rally on Friday night. This is the beginning of a tradition that we started probably 3 or 4 years ago. And it begins at 6:00 p.m. at the Civic Center, and it will then parade down to Centennial Plaza at 6:30 p.m. And again, this is our only high school in the city of Canton. This is a huge day and a huge support for that high school, not only for football, but for the band, for the cheerleaders, for the pep squads and the dance squads, and the kids and their parents. So we would urge you on that particular date, if you can't go to the game, please come to the free Centennial Plaza celebration. And I am 0-5 in 5 years as mayor in games against Massillon. We have a new coach. We had a great day today at the Hall of Fame Luncheon Club. And I have great confidence in Coach Antonio Hall that he is the right guy to run this program. He picked up a program that had many, many challenges this year. They started out 0-2 with many, many challenges, and they are 6-1 since that date. Coaches teach X and O's, but mostly they teach character and values, and he is teaching this team that, and this is a team, and again, a program that deserves all of our support. Member Smith.
Yes, Mr. President.
Member Smith.
Thank you. Okay, I have several announcements. The first announcement is the fact that I wanted to really thank the Canton City Schools for redoing Crenshaw's football field. And I want each and every one of you all to know that the Crenshaw Bulldogs are the #1 champs. They are undefeated. They are 8th grade, and we did beat Massillon, which was our last game that we played. So I just want to congratulate them on that. I also want to mention, most of you probably read in the paper in regards to the park department. Someone had wrote in my opinion, that our park department does not do a good job over in the northeast end, which is located, what they were speaking of, the park that's over in the northeast area off of Henrietta Avenue Northeast. And I just want to say about the park department, they do a great job in maintaining our parks. And a lot of times, like now, they have a hard time getting upgraded equipment, and there's a lot of equipment that is on hold because of COVID. So I really wanted to go on record that I just did not appreciate them saying what they said about our park department. If you go around to most of our parks, they have been upgraded. If anyone get a chance, I would really love for you to see Lee's Park. That was a park that they just finished, and all of our parks are in good standing, and I just feel like our park department do a great job, Doug Foss and his staff, in maintaining all of our parks. On October the 30th, there will be a trunk or treat at the Southeast Community Center, and I'm asking everyone to come out, participate, bring your kids, and everybody have a safe weekend, and go Bulldogs.
Thank you, Member Smith. Member Hall.
Just one more announcement. Happy birthday, Chris.
Absolutely, happy birthday. Now, we could sing it.
Oh, okay. No, I got I do have one other announcement. The June Knights always, every year, host a Master McKinley breakfast. And that's going to be on Saturday morning, this Saturday morning. So you come out to the breakfast, it's from 9 to 12, and it's at the Nazagrata Hall.
Yeah.
And if anybody needs tickets, see me.
Yeah. Thank you, Member Smith. And thank you, Member Hall. Is there any other miscellaneous business for this evening?
I have one.
Member Kimbrough.
I just wanted to announce about Trunk or Treat. It's going to be at the 28th. It's going to be at the Stadium Park. So kids need to come out and drive through and get their candy on that day. That's going to be from 5:30 to 7.
Thank you, Member Kimbrough. Anything else? Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Smucker.
Aye.
Babcock. Hawk. Kimbrough. Scaglione. Smith. Hall. Merrill. Ferguson. Morris. 10 yeas, Mr. President.
This meeting is adjourned, and thank you for coming this evening.